Hello, everybody. I'm Skip Alzheimer. Welcome to the AV Geeks Lunchtime Streaming Show, where we watch old 16 millimeter films. And that footage started off as fairly innocuous footage of freight trains, and then went off the rails quite literally. So this is what's fascinating. This film came from Northern Iowa University, and we've gotten some really interesting things in that collection. We got some basic stuff, but to find, wait, something's making a sound. Sorry, I have to mute myself. There has been some unique footage in there, and that's what we've discovered over the years. Is when we get a collection of films, you get stuff that was made and distributed, but then you find original material in there. And so yesterday we had a pole vault film from 1985, and then today was this footage. And there's no other information on it except it just kind of roughly gives, it just says news footage. So how did it end up there? What's the provenance? I don't know. It did not show up in the list that they had sent me. So I've always thought that film archives, when you have a bunch, like a room dedicated to a bunch of films, it's like a magnet or a lightning rod, and other film materials or other audiovisual materials make their way into that archive. That's when, so for example, when I had heard about the Universal fire I think in the 90s, late 90s, they were like, well, it was just a bunch of film prints, that's no problem. I was like, no, I know there's something else in there that is gone. And sure enough, it was all these magnetic tape audio tracks of recordings, musicians and singers and bands, master tapes that were destroyed. So there you go. All right. Speaking of fire, do you smell smoke?
Hey, did you see that?
That's nice, dear. Jan, please turn that down so your father can hear the game.
That's okay, dear. It's over.
Do you smell smoke, dear?
I don't know. I'll check and see.
Just take a look around you. Tell me what you see. Where is this world going? What will the future be? What about tomorrow? Guess what lies ahead? Will there be a brighter future? Or just a world gone dead?
Our house is on fire.
Oh, dear. Shall we call the fire department?
No need. I doubt whether they could get here in time to do any good.
Now if you want some answers, turn to those
Dear, why Why don't you get dressed up a little? I'm sure this will draw a crowd.
Listen to the prophet, hear the words they say.
And I didn't have my hair set. When do you think the crowd will get here? Tom, do get out of those awful jeans.
Oh, yeah. Debbie might stop by later, see the fire.
I think I'll wear the new blue one, honey.
King of all creation is gonna take the land. Listen,
That sounds good, dear.
what you understand? He who made this world beginning has huge power in his
This is horrible. Best shirts in the cleaners.
Jan, please get dressed. The people will be here soon.
It's no use, honey. She's in her own world when she has a new record.
Is gonna prosper. We need a more progressive posture. No time to waste. We got to organize. We need a super church to guide us.
How do I
Forget
look?
the doctrines
You look great, honey.
that divide us.
Should we go outside now?
Not yet. Let's let Jan finish her record first.
You can't make friends by trampling on their toes. People don't want no guilt and sorrow. They want a brighter day tomorrow and someplace they can wear their newest clothes. Yes, Lord.
We may need some Jesus. He might make division right. Forget about this Bible story. Cut the old bit down to size.
Forget the resurrection thesis. We just want the words of Jesus on brotherhood and love and no more war. The miracles can be dispensed with. There's no need to be incensed with arguments on doctrine anymore. Yes, Lord. Morality is antiquated. Modern man's emancipated. From do's and don'ts that
It's a shame this is going to burn. I wish it didn't have to. Dear, I think it would be better with some light on it.
To the hilt. Yes, Lord.
We may need some Jesus. He might make division right. Forget about this Bible story. Cut the old bit down to size.
Join the social revolution. Pray you never made solutions to poverty or inner city crime. Broad-mindedness sure beats dogmatics. We wouldn't want to be fanatics. A person's got to keep up with the times. Yes, Lord. Now if the church is gonna prosper, we need a more progressive posture. No time to wait. We got to organize. We need a super church to guide us. Forget the doctrines that divide us. And some for a little compromise.
You know, it is too bad. I really like this house. She wasn't burning.
I see you standing in
Yes, son, it is too bad.
enclosed in walls of sacred stone.
Don't you think so, dear?
While I walk
Yes, honey, it is too bad.
windows, just as distant and alone. If eyes meet,
Yeah.
smile politely.
Hope it doesn't ruin my books.
Or Jan's stereo.
Quick to catch the subtle differences, never seen we're the same. beneath our shadows, lonely altars, we ignore the stifled tears.
Yes. Yes, it is too bad.
Of our distinctions, fondling bones as if they live. We offer silences for anguish, finding nothing else to give. It's not just destruction, bigger things are planned. The king of all creation is gonna take the land. Listen what we're saying, try to understand. He who made this world begin and has you turn in his
Wow. Okay, so that was one that I had pulled from this collection that I got from Albuquerque, which had a bunch of religious films, like supposedly 700. Yikes, that was something else. That weird beanbag chair of a planet that was on fire. Really, really something else. Yeah, maybe we should just stop today because that we're not going to be able to top that. All right. What do I got? Oh yeah. Here's your brain in action.
Imagine the coordination needed to perform these complex movements. Which part of the body is working hardest? The real action happens inside the head. The brain is only a tiny part of you. It's smaller than, say, this cauliflower. But the cauliflower doesn't do too much. The brain, on the other hand, is in charge of everything you feel and do. This control is possible thanks to a network of tiny pathways called nerves, which run beneath your skin. And all over your body, tiny electrical signals are hurrying along the nerves towards the brain. For example, the hands touch the bar. Quick as a flash, they send off a signal to the brain. The message reads, "This object is cold. It's round, hard, and smooth, and we're holding on to it." even though the process actually takes only a microsecond. We can imagine the signal's journey through the nerves. When the signal reaches the brain, it finds a mass of nerve cells, or neurons, waiting for the message. Long fibers, or dendrites, reach out to pick it up. As the signal jumps from one neuron to another, it crosses a synapse, which in Greek means handshake. It's as if the neurons shake hands. As this happens, the gymnast gets the message from the fingers. She feels the bar. There are over 1 billion neurons in one brain. If you took a second to count each one, you'd be counting for 30,000 years. This process happens constantly at lightning speeds all over your body. Millions of electrical signals carrying messages are zooming through the nervous system and into the brain. This body-to-brain communication is being studied at the USC Medical Center. Electrodes attached to a patient's head measure the electricity in her brain.
Is my friend going to be okay?
She's going to be just fine.
What are you doing?
I'm monitoring her brainwave activity. See how busy the brain is? Now close your eyes, Yana. Your brain is always responding to the things you see, anything you feel, or even the things you hear. Open your eyes, Yana. See how the brain waves change in response to opening your eyes?
So, the brain's first task is to receive all these sensations from the body. Its second task is to process the information and send instructions back out down the nerves. Maybe it wants the feet to run. It sends out the command. The brain tells the knees when to bend, the legs how to spring, the hands where to land. Before you make any movement, your brain performs 1,000 calculations about the speed and direction of the move. Of course, you don't think about how to run. It just happens. But no matter how quickly you move, your brain has planned and even rehearsed the movement in a fraction of a second. We don't think about how to speak or form words either. We just open our mouths and talk. When we're hungry, we simply eat. But without the brain, we couldn't say a single word or take a bite of food. Even tasks like digesting food, circulating the blood, or breathing are carried out by the brain. A special part called the brainstem takes care of many of these unconscious tasks.
Hey, Matt. Matt, wake up.
Sounds are carried along nerves which lead into the auditory cortex. This part of the brain
Matt.
hears.
Wake up. Wake up. Hey. Come on, Matt. Wake up. Let's go in. Come on, let's go.
The visual cortex handles everything we see. But when the brain has to decide, what do we do now? The whole cerebral cortex is involved in the decision. But what if something goes wrong with this complicated system? Most of the time, Jana is a normal, healthy girl. But sometimes, for short periods, her brain waves change dramatically. This is because she has a rare brain disease called epilepsy.
You see how the brainwave activity changes when she's having a seizure?
She okay?
Yeah, she's okay, but she just doesn't know what's happening. Jana, can you hear me? Do you know where you are?
Epilepsy, like many other brain diseases, is now controllable thanks to drugs produced by medical research. But despite scientific progress, there's much we still don't know about even a simple rat brain. Dr. Hernandez investigating these specimens, has discovered the cause of a stomach disease. He found out that chemicals produced in the brain actually cause stomach ulcers in humans as well as rats. With this knowledge, he can develop a cure. Like individual members on a team, each part of the brain and body has a separate job to do. But they must collaborate to produce results. It's no good telling your feet to run if your eyes aren't looking where they're going. This coordination, this teamwork between millions of tiny elements, is what makes the brain such an effective and marvelous part of who we are.
So 1989. Yeah, that's pretty late. I feel like we've shown one from 1990. But yeah, that's pretty late. And so here's what's crazy. In the credits, the animator, it was Francesca Talenti, who I think I know, who teaches at UNC, Chapel Hill. Or she did, like, I don't know, 5 years ago, 8 years ago. But yeah, it's kind of interesting when you see people that you know in the credits. And that's happened a couple of times recently, especially with some of the Coronet stuff that we've scanned. I found the name. No, it was actually Encyclopedia Britannica. And I found the name of the woman who started the Chicago Film Archive, that she was I think, script supervisor on a film. All right. Puppets. It's time to watch some puppets. Enjoy.
Is it ever fun playing football in the mud?
You look so silly when you tripped over the dog and fell flat in that puddle.
You hurt yourself?
Oh, it's just a scrape.
You should see yourself. You're so dirty.
What about you?
Yuck. I suppose Mom will want us to get all cleaned up.
When you think of how you're growing, it should come as no surprise. The more we learn about ourselves, the more we realize it helps to be health-wise. We're growing health-wise. It helps to be health-wise, health-wise. There's lots of folks who'll help us grow. We'll help ourselves because we know if we're happy and healthy too, our bodies will do what we want them to. It helps to be health-wise. We're growing health-wise. It helps to be health-wise, health-wise.
What you doing in there?
I'm washing behind my ears.
Actually, I'm playing. I love getting dirty because I get to have a shower. Come on, Squirt. I'm sliding on the bottom and making tidal waves.
Oh, boy.
Sometimes it's more fun getting clean than it is getting dirty. With the magic of a drop of shampoo, or nice warm water and a bar of soap, we can uncover something truly marvelous, our amazing skin. And our amazing skin loves nothing better than to be clean and free of dirt and germs. Think of all the different colors skin comes in. And think how perfectly your skin fits you. And how easily it can fix itself, healing over a cut. Ever heard your skin called a birthday suit? That's 'cause you were wearing it on your birthday. Your skin has grown a lot since you were a baby. The more you grow, the more your skin grows with you. It stretches when you stretch. No matter what your shape, your skin fits you perfectly. Take good care of it, and your healthy skin will last a lifetime.
Will you quit looking at yourself and help me fix these sandwiches? Oh, it's true. What's true? My skin fits me, and it's lovely. Ah, stop. Spinner, do you ever wonder why we have hair? Hair?
Yes, Spinner, hair. Hair protects our skin. Polar bears or people, hair keeps us warm the same way, by trapping warm air next to our skin. Hair helps a lot, at least for most people. Hair, your eyelashes, protects your eyes. It's also in your ears. There are even little hairs on the insides of your nose. And in return for helping you, all your hair asks for is to be combed and washed regularly. Washing hair keeps it strong and healthy and gives it what?
Clean power.
Your bare skin does a lot for you, too. For one thing, it helps cool you off. On a hot day or when you exercise, your skin goes to work and starts to sweat. Sweating is your skin letting out water to help cool you down. But to sweat easily, your skin must be clean and not clogged with dirt. You see, skin is your protective barrier between everything outside and everything inside. Like the dust and dirt and germs in the air we don't even see. Just because they get on our skin doesn't mean they'll cause trouble, as long as we remember to clean them right off. Remember, a super cleaning is super important for your super skin.
I didn't know skin was that important. I just thought it kept my blood and bones from falling out. Gee, Squirt, you don't know anything. Pass the glass. I do so know things. I know that glass is dirty and full of germs. Who gave you that idea? My teacher. She says germs can make you sick. You don't even know what a germ looks like. I do, too. It's small and black and hairy and has two mean-looking red eyes.
I am a germ. Usually I'm too small for you to see, but I was invited to appear as a special guest. I love garbage and all kinds of dirt. Dirty dishes, dirty hands. That's where I like to live. Rats. Why does she have to wash the dishes? Now they'll be too clean for me. Oh, I'll go look for a kid with dirty hands and get him when he's eating dinner. No, don't do it. Give me a break, will you? Oh, yuck. Kids who get all washed up make me mad, 'cause it's so hard for me to make them sick.
Okay. Here you go.
And look at this kid. Good grief. She's even cleaning her nails. And you see that revolting table? All clean and shiny. Blech. This ain't no place for me. I'm leaving. But wait. Another chance. I love scrapes and cuts. I get right inside the skin and make it all red and sore. I'm the kind of germ that starts infections. Oh, she's washing it. Then using antiseptic.
Good girl. Oh, there we go.
It's your turn. Where are you going? I have to go to the bathroom. The bathroom? You don't have to tell everyone. It's embarrassing.
Is going to the toilet embarrassing? It shouldn't be. Everyone has to. This baby is getting her outsides cleaned of a bowel movement that came from her insides. Her bowel movement was that part of the food she didn't need. In it lived bacteria that helped her digest the food. But the bacteria can also make her sick if they get where they don't belong. That's why her mother knows it's so important to wipe carefully and from front to back, especially for girls.
Your mommy's good girl?
After a bowel movement, we flush and then wash up for the same reason. There can be bacteria on our hands, too tiny for us to see. We wash our hands to be really sure they're clean. That way, all the bacteria go down the drain where they belong.
It's okay, Squirt. Or not Squirt. I'm embarrassed. I know how you feel, but what that lady's telling you is important. Maybe you're right, Spinner. See, it's like geography when we learn about the world. Except here we learn about the geography of our body and how to look after it. When you put it that way, it makes me feel better. And you know what? What? I washed my hands after going to the bathroom. Way to go, Squirt. I don't want those germs living on me. I don't want you to give them to me either. Right! We need clean power! Clean power!
Brushing up.
Clean power.
Scrubbing up.
Clean power. Clean power. Clean power. Clean power.
We're flossing up.
Clean power.
We're cleaning up.
Clean power. Clean power. Clean power. Come here, Nat. Nat. Not me. Not Nat. 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 Hard, Nat. Nat. Nat.
That's a terrific song, kids. But as well as clean power, your skin also needs protection, and not just from germs. How about sunburn?
Sunburn hurts.
It sure does. Mind you, the sun is good for you. But be careful you don't overdo it.
The freezing cold can hurt your skin, too.
Oh, yes. And when it's very cold, you especially need to protect your feet and hands.
And ears, boy. And I never let myself be dared into putting my tongue on freezing metal. Ow.
Well, we're beginning to see that there are lots of things that can hurt your skin.
Insect bites, cold sores, warts, eczema, and boils.
Oh, yes. Unpleasant things, all of them. But fortunately, with the help of a doctor, they can be treated with medicines and cured.
It's really interesting learning about skin, Dr. Jonas, and I know I have to get cuts and scrapes clean, see? But what if I get a really bad cut?
Cover the cut with something clean, Spinner, then come over and see me. Sometimes a cut will need a couple of stitches.
I've heard of stitches, but what do they do?
Stitches bring the edges of the cut back together again, so it'll heal faster. But most small cuts just need to be washed and covered with a Band-Aid to keep the dirt out.
There's Rags! We gotta go catch him. That dumb dog. Come on. Bye, Dr. Jonas. Dr. Jonas.
Bye-bye.
There he is. Rags! Rags! Come here, boy! Here he comes. Oh, he's filthy. Watch out. Ah! Ugh. Oh, Rags, you're disgusting. Look at us. We gotta get cleaned up again.
Wow. There were a lot of butts. A whole lot of butts that I thought the baby's butt was it, but nope, it was not. Yeah, there was a toe tapper in there. And if you remember the food group's toe tapper from another film in this series, which was like an a cappella version. But, yeah, I like it. Big fan. All right. This film I've been wanting to show for 2 weeks, but I keep running out of time, so we're going to watch it. We're going to run long, but it's okay. The graphic process. Enjoy.
Start with Lowell Herrero, a graphic designer and painter. Add the fact that he's a sports nut with a great deal of success as a designer of calendars, and what you come up with is obvious. A sports calendar. Better yet, a combination of schedule and calendar. Something with graphic unity.
Schedules are so darn hard to read. These little pocket-sized things, you know. So I thought that if a person had a decorative type schedule, he'd want to hang it on the wall. And that way he'd know where his team was, who they were playing, when, and so on and so forth. And it also would become a decorative item. After I had gotten it worked out, when I thought, gee, wouldn't it be great to be able to keep scores? So that even made it doubly valuable to keep.
So he started into it. He discussed it with anyone who'd listen. His wife, friends, everybody thought it was a great idea, especially the part about having a place to write in the scores. That seemed to pull the whole thing together. So he started into layouts, sketches, and roughs, and began to show these around. And that's where he had a little trouble.
I had a few problems, mainly because I didn't have the contacts. Who do you go to, you know, when you have something like this, which is, you know, you can have a world beater of a product, but if it doesn't get the exposure or the right context, it'll just die, like anything else. I don't care how good it is. It has to have the exposure. I don't have the time. I had to do all this on the side as well as my regular work. See, I have my regular work, which is advertising, commercial art.
So many things to be done with so little time. Sponsors, distributors, contacts, knocking on doors. It's frustrating. And finally, the project got set aside.
It just gathered dust for all this time until I met this attorney. John McGuinn is his name, through a mutual friend of ours. Our mutual friend had told John about this calendar, and he said, geez, I'd like to see it. And with that, he came over to the studio and saw it and saw what he liked. He says, geez, he says, have you tried to sell this? And I said, well, not really. I've shown it to a lot of people and nothing happened. So he said, do you mind if I take it? So I said, no, go ahead. Be my guest. So he took the calendar and started making the rounds of various clients, sponsors, possible sponsors, and got a lot of good reaction. Quite a few of them expressed interest in it. So with a combination of John and myself, me creating, producing, and John selling was great. And that's really the way it all started. We formed a company and we called ourselves Sports Calendars Company, which is apropos.
That's the background, what it took to get the project off the ground. Now, let's look at how the schedule calendar was developed into the finished product. Start with the concept.
And I just felt, right from the very beginning, there wasn't any question in my mind that it should be nostalgia. That struck me as being apple pie, you know, flags, cross bats, eagles, nostalgia thing. And it just lent itself to it. I was searching in my own mind for a format, a good workable format. I had to simplify that whole thing. And that's when I came up with the baseballs, the round circles. I completed a page of white circles, just a very rough form. And sure enough, it worked. Once I establish the concept that I think that I will work, then I carry it a step further. I get into more detail. Once I had established the concept and had worked out all the little details, then it was a matter of how many pages are we going to use. I had worked it out where we could get all this on 3 sheets of paper. And then I proceeded to make a mock-up, an actual dummy. And I really have to work out every detail because I want to see if it's going to work or not. I want to see it all worked out, and I have to do it by hand.
When Lowell is satisfied with the design and layout, John McGuinn uses the mock-up to tie down the details of sales, distribution, licensing, and contracts. And then the mechanical drawings are started. For this phase of the work, Lowell and John obtain the services of Debbie Bristow, a graphics artist and a skilled professional. Using the mock-up as a guide, Debbie obtains the type proofs required for the pay-stubs of team logos, symbols, numbers, and other special items. This work is carefully checked against the mock-up and sketches for size and design, and is coordinated with Lowell, who at this time is beginning his paintings. Because of a special antiquing process to be used, he will do the paintings on rusty metal.
It's a different sensation working on that surface. I've worked on a lot of things, all kinds of surfaces, wood, glass, metal, canvas, illustration board. It's so much fun to paint on. It really is. It covers a multiple of sins. You can get away with a lot. You throw caution to the wind. You know, I mean, you can just paint loose and feel good and relaxed. And if you do make a mistake, you can cover it up very easily on the metal. Once I've traced it down, then I begin to paint. When I do apply the paint to the metal, I paint as bright as I can get it. And I usually paint in layers. The reason for doing that is so that when we do antique it, a lot of the paint will start to peel away, and then you get the underpainting.
Debbie now starts the artwork for the various emblems, logos, numbers, and other items which she will need for her mechanical drawings and paste-ups. The typesetting work is cut and respaced to match the emblems of each of the teams appearing on the calendar. To ensure a perfect match of the emblems, she works from photographs and other information supplied to her by the individual teams. Working through a series of negative and positive photostats, Debbie adds the special line work required and realigns the lettering. This process is continued until she arrives at an exact duplicate of the team emblems, reduced to the size required for her paste-ups. These are set aside for future use. Her job requires long hours of delicate and detailed work, as she must not only do the team emblems, but must make ready for paste-up the numbers, symbols, and printed information which will appear on the finished schedule calendar. This results in a mountain of negatives, positives, enlargements, and reductions.
People have asked me, well, what sort of paint do you use because of the abuse that it takes, you know. It's just nothing but acrylic paint, which is a plastic paint. And I find that stuff is so amazing. It takes an awful beating. And I've been asked the question, well, do you use a primer before you apply the final coat? No, just paint right on raw metal. And that just amazes a lot of my contemporaries. They can't believe it. You're kidding. No. Try it. You'll like it.
By now, Debbie and Lowell are deeply into their work. As the work goes on, John and Lowell review the progress, as both printing and sales must be closely coordinated with the completion of the art. Debbie, too, meets with Lowell. The progress of her work is reviewed, and any questions she may have about the layouts are discussed in detail. Since the calendar features the schedule of the San Francisco Giants, Lowell and John request a review of the schedule by a member of the Giants organization. And the Giants are extremely cooperative in providing the up-to-date schedules and checking the accuracy of the work. Now it's just a matter of long, hard work until Debbie has completed her paste-ups and Lowell's paintings are ready for antiquing. Debbie, when through, will have prepared one mechanical drawing for each of the pages of the calendar. These mechanical drawings will be used by the printer to prepare his printing plates. Lowell, meanwhile, has reached the stage where the paintings are ready for the antiquing process. He's painted brightly and in layers, resulting in a flat, poster-like look, soon to be completely changed. The antiquing is extremely risky, as the results are purely accidental and completely without control. The fear exists that the paintings will be destroyed and will have to be redone, but what can result makes the gamble worth taking. So, Lowell gathers up the paintings and takes them to the studio of sculptor Tom Brown, where, under Lowell's supervision, the antiquing begins. The first thing is to burn the top layer of pigment by using a relatively cold torch. Next, the pigment is further broken down by rubbing on liquid sulfur diluted with water. As the heat and the sulfur react differently with each of the various colors, the painting begins to lose its uniform appearance. As more sulfur is added, a hot torch is used to eat into the paint layers to different levels, sometimes going all the way to the bare, rusty metal.
There's one thing about this technique. The first time we experimented with it, it really shook me up. When you think about the hours that you've spent painting this particular painting, and you take it out to Tom Brown here, and he fires up his torch, and within a minute can destroy the whole thing right before your very eyes.
The painting is now worked over by hand with various materials: sandpaper, steel wool, hammers, whatever is needed to gain the desired effects.
I more or less guide them along and point out the various areas that I want to see pitted more. I try to guide them into giving it an overall feeling to it. And then I try to pick out certain areas that I'd like to see destroyed, so to speak.
The torch is used again, this time to highlight certain areas and to achieve a uniform appearance.
He dries it off, and then he applies a fixative to preserve what paint is left. Now he just keeps working over all of them to do it all at once so we can keep that same consistency going. I mean, to do one week and do another one the next week, you forget some of the little things that you applied to the first one and vice versa. So it's better to do them all at once. That way you're more consistent.
They work until all of the paintings have been antiqued. A comparison with their appearance before the antiquing shows how much they've been changed.
We arrived at a point where we figured, well, that's enough, and before I begin to touch it up. So then it's back to the studio and reworking it all over again. It's almost like taking a photograph and retouching it. This is what it all boils down to.
The paintings are now completed and ready for the printer. Again, so we can appreciate what's been done, let's look at some of these before antiquing, after antiquing, and after Lowell's retouching. Before antiquing, after antiquing, and after retouching. Before the printing can be started, there are 2 items left to be done.
In Debbie's case, she has some overlays to do, which is the imprint of the word giants. There I might point out, too, that the word giants, I had that lettered by a specialist who was a very good lettering man, named Chuck Workman. And he lettered it in such a way that it would fit the curvature of the baseball on the cover, which is pretty hard to duplicate if you were to have it set in type. It's almost impossible. So Chuck actually designed it to fit the curvature of the ball itself on the cover. This is just sort of a guideline for the printer, so he will know where the type and all the type in the cover will be placed. It's just a guide for him. There wasn't any National League logo, to my knowledge, so I decided to create one, really for the reason that it would be a nice added addition to the rest of it, which has the old look.
To get a clear, sharp reproduction of this logo, Lowell has the black line drawing reproduced on film. The color work is then done separately under this film on illustration board, so that when he is through, he has the color on the board and the line work on the film. These are handled separately by the printer.
Now the next step was to select the color. Now, if you can recall, the mechanicals are all black and white. All the emblems, the logos, and things of that nature. So what we had to do was color key this. And by color keying, I mean we have a chart, a color chart, which is coded in numbers. And that's the way the whole process was done, on an overlay, indicating just by numbers what color was to go in this designated area.
Now the printing can begin. The first step is the making of the printing plates. The originals of the colored artwork are shot by a special camera through various colored filters. Mechanical drawings and other black and white work are shot through a special amber or combination filter. When this is done, there will be one negative for each of the separated colors. One for the separated blues, one for the separated reds, one for the yellows, and one for the blacks. Before these negatives are used to engrave the printing plates, they are carefully inspected and are retouched by hand to ensure an exact match to the original artwork. The plates are engraved and set into the press in this order: black, blue or cyan, red or magenta, and yellow. The colors are imprinted onto the paper. The white paper is first printed black. Then the blue is added. Then the red. and then the yellow. Black, black, blue, black, blue, red, black, blue, red, yellow. The printing is now started. As the printing is done, proofs are constantly pulled by the pressmen. These proofs are checked for proper density of colors, registration, and quality. Everyone gets into the act, as the highest quality must be obtained.
It was beautiful. Beautiful to see because they came so close to the original, it wasn't funny. It was just beautiful. And that's what you anticipate, that's what you look forward to, and that's what it's all about. So, after checking it over very carefully, I put my approval on it, and I okay that press sheet. And what that means is the rest of the 50,000 calendars have to come up to that sheet that I approved.
When enough copies have been printed, the binding can be started. The pages are first cut to size. They are then scored for folding. Next, they are machine folded. And finally, they are placed in a machine which collates the pages, binds them with staples, and trims them to finished size. They are then packed into boxes. The calendar is shipped to the various distribution outlets and is also sold at the ballpark, the Giants Candlestick Park.
To launch this momentous occasion, we had selected the San Francisco Boys Club to introduce the calendar to the public. Wow, at times you began to, or I did, wonder whether it was worth it all. Would it ever become a realization, you know? Here you have a finished product, it's being sold, it's printed, people are buying it. You know, it's pretty damn rewarding when you know that you've created something and it was nice enough, or at least the public thinks it's nice enough to want to buy it. I can hardly wait to start next year's. Oh.
The lineup for the Giants calendar was as follows: Lowell Herrero at artist, John McGuinn at business partner, Debbie Bristow at mechanical drawings, Chuck Workman at special lettering, Tom Brown at sculptor and antiquing, Omnicomp at typesetting, Peninsula Lithography at printing and binding, John Tadeucci at Giants representative, the San Francisco Boys Club at sales, and Renee McGuinn at narrator. Produced and distributed by Films M.
Well, that was epic. And so when I started taking graphic design classes in late 80s, we were at this point where desktop publishing had happened. The Macs were beginning to roll out with laser printers and be able to start creating some graphic stuff with laser printers. And but we were also making these composition boards, so there was this. We were on both ends of it, and those who in my classes that did not learn how to use the graphic software were screwed. They were totally screwed because that I did learn because I was working at a computer lab and I was teaching grad students how to use the software. So I learned how to use a very early version of Photoshop when it was called Image Styler, PageMaker, Illustrator, all these very, very, very early graphic software. And so, yeah, it's fascinating to see how much this guy went through and the number of people involved to create this product. And at no point did he talk about getting permission. And that's the thing nowadays that many of you mentioned in the comments. So there you go. Thanks everybody for tuning in today. It was kind of epic. But it was great to see you. Thanks for your comments. Thanks for your thumbs ups, your likes. Those are very helpful for us. Also, you can donate via the Super Thanks button, ko-fi.com/avgeeks, patreon.com/avgeeks. Those are great ways to support us. Also, we've been uploading 24 films a day, 1 an hour. And we're just going to keep going until we hit 10,000. That's the plan. 10,000 films online. And that number will also include the shows that we did. So, anyways, love you guys. We will see you tomorrow, Friday. Everybody take care. Bye.